it doesn't matter how old you are, something gets into your head that is, if like men of any age, they should not kiss you, even though it's just for nothing. They just like you, you're cute. And I had all this feeling of like, I didn't want people to get close to me.
Oh. And so, how is it resolved now?
I think it's okay.
There might be some more hugs here. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your experience?
It is very interesting that the person over there joined us with my mother and me here. It's like that person is just like my mother.
Ah, yeah.
Cares about me.
Right. Sometimes we'll have parts of us that represent a person in our lives, but they'll take different forms.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That was good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So any questions of Masuda? Okay.
Thank you.
You will notice how little I did to lead the parts to do anything. And how her concept of the parts led themselves. Where do they want to be? What did they want to say to each other? What did they want to do? When I work with someone's parts, I try to be very respectful of them. And when I work with someone and I ask what the part looks like and sounds like, I start to actually see images. And the more I can see of those images in her mind field, and which is also inside, the more ideas I get about what might be there, what's missing, what needs to happen. But I try to lead very little. It's mainly pacing. Mainly pacing. And it usually solves itself. She has all the resources she needs to solve this. Now, here's another thing. Do not interpret. When the man first showed up and was chasing her, that could have been scary according to our map of reality. There could have meaning there that really, by the way, that's how repressed memories often get implanted. But it turns out it was a good thing.
Yeah, but then also, when I was a little kid, there were another crazy man in the street when they would chase you.
Yeah.
And I was afraid of that.
And we could have focused on that. But it turns out it in your mind was an aspect of that little girl also needed that. You know, that was a nice thing. So don't project. Ask. Ask. Okay. Judy.
Was the man also another part of herself?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And because she said at the end that in her culture, of course, it was inappropriate for men to be maybe as affectionate as they are in our culture.
Was that what you meant?
Yeah, I don't know how it got, my mother didn't say anything, but it's something in the society, like when they're a little girl, usually other men in the family, they don't come and hug you and kiss you.
Okay.
And then she gets married, and she's expected to, in 24 hours, drop this protective issue, and all of a sudden have the freedom to be spontaneous in herself. You know, you can understand
Absolutely.
Where that
Where
would be
that would
blocked.
come from, yeah. And again, I didn't project anything.
No.
And it's fun. I mean, and after the person has done this, sometimes it's fun to ask them, well, tell me a little more about your culture and how might this impact this event of being married and going away. So, yeah, and that's fun. That's fun to do and get much more understanding about the whole situation. It's that system, looking at the system.
Yeah, but you're right. The first thing when the fellow came up, it was,
Ooh.
uh-oh, where are we going here?
And had my tone of voice done that,
right,
that could have influenced her.
right.
So again, if we do this with curiosity and respect, then we lessen the chances of leading her somewhere that maybe she had no intention of going.
Because that was my first instinct, but then it's like, maybe they're playing.
Yeah. Well, and I was watching her face, and there wasn't tension in her face around that. That's why I said, what is the mood
Right.
of it?
If you had seen tension in her face.
I still would have asked her, what is the mood? Because I don't want to lead, again, I don't want to lead. One of the dichotomies of neurolinguistic programming and learning it is that you want to go out and do stuff with it. You want to lead. What I learned over the 20 years of doing this is the less I lead, the more pure the experience is for the person, and the more quickly we get somewhere. But I could lead them, oh, let's do this process, or let's do this, and maybe it's not useful. So much of it is that sensory acuity, the rapport, the asking questions, the assuming positive intention.
And don't you think also as a therapist, taking your, maybe, especially as a new therapist or something, take your ego out of it and
Yes.
saying you have the answers and that you can just lead them down this path.
That's right.
Whereas the truth is they have
They
the
have the
answers.
answers.
And it's you to be there just to listen and
Yes.
bring it together.
I had a wise teacher when I was taking my NLP training who was not in the training. He was a friend who was a psychologist, a cognitive psychologist, and he wasn't sure about any of this stuff. He ended up putting it in his book. But he said to me, I have gotten more referrals from clients I couldn't help than clients I could help. I thought that was very, very interesting. And so in his viewpoint, he had not helped these people, but they sent people. And if we have ego that we have to help someone, and then they'll be, they'll send us more referrals, that's our intention, it separates us from our client. If we're just there with them, it's not about us. It's not about our ego. It's just about what's there. And so for me, my metaphor about how I do therapy is that I have a flashlight. And I'm just shining it on different things and asking the person, what do you see? That's all I'm doing. They have the tools to put whatever they see together. I'm just asking questions in a way that allows them to see. So as you do this next exercise, which we're going to take a break first, I think is a good idea. Think about being the explorer, truly exploring this territory of parts of this person. You're not trying to make them do anything. Okay? Yes, Oliver?
Does this type of therapy work well with phobias?
With who?
Phobias.
Some phobias.
Not necessarily. It's a nice ecology check to see, is there any part of you that really wants you to keep this phobia? But you have the same process of dissociating. When you do a phobic cure, you're dissociating the part of you that's scared. So there's that tiny aspect to it.
So then would you do a little bit of this first and then...
Maybe just check, is there any part of you that doesn't want you to let go of this phobia?
And explore that part and find out the positive intentions.
Yeah. Especially if the phobia cure doesn't work just like that. Usually, if you're talking to someone about it, you can tell if they have resistance. They might be afraid, but you
They
can...
say no way it's going to work, I've had this for a long time.
Right. Well, and you can talk to that part that believes that a little bit. I usually, in a phobia cure... Okay. Sorry. freeze frame? In a phobia cure, it is such a simple and elegant process. Even if people strongly don't believe you can do it, if you take them through it and it doesn't work, then I might go for the parts situation. Usually it works no matter how much they believe it won't. I mean, it is so simple and so elegant. What I always check for, though, and it may be a belief of mine, and you can certainly challenge it in your practice of it, is if there is more than one phobia, I then look for the system. If you have agoraphobia, in addition, that's a very broad phobia. It's a very powerful one. So if you're afraid of many different things, there's a system there you need to look at, all the different parts perhaps, or whatever. But if it's one phobia, it's usually like that. Any other questions? Yeah.
This exercise would be better for like social relationship or habit like smoking and food?
Yes.
And both of them?
Both of them.
Smoking, yeah, sure. Anything in which you want to change a habit and you seem to have difficulty, check with all the parts. Yeah, Monet.
Does this work with physical conditions as well as behaviors?
Oh,
and
you
emotions?
bet. It works very well with physical conditions. And then often you'll get images of organs talking to you. I worked with my mother when she was in her 60s for smoking. She'd smoked ever since she was, I think, 19 or 20. And she went in her 60s, she decided she wanted to stop, and she asked for my help. And so I asked about the parts of her that didn't want her to stop, which she hadn't even thought about. She got an image of her father smoking. She loved her father very much. And so we had to take care of that. No, you won't disconnect from your father if you... So that sort of thing will often come up. So anyway, also an image of her as a little girl on his lap. So we wanted to make sure she had that connection still with him, not through a cigarette.
So then did you have to ask the if-then?
Sure, conditional clause. If you can still, right.
Love your father.
Good.
Would it be okay for this part of you?
Yes. And you know, when you include the positive intentions in all the parts, that pretty much takes care of your conditional clause, doesn't it? Other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Luna. Go have a break. 15 minutes. Get outside. Doing this exercise will be easy for you because you've already done all of the steps in other exercises. Yeah. So, and you will, you're going to have 4 groups of 3.
In fact, it's now 5 groups of 3 because Isabel had to go.
Okay. All right. So 5 groups of 3. 5 groups of 3. No, it's quite all right. 5 groups of 3. And C will help you, also help them follow the steps. Okay? So the steps are these. You find, A finds a situation and describes it. You assume there are different parts involved, the part that wants the situation to be a certain way and parts that don't. B then elicits the parts, as I did, their outcome, their positive outcome of everyone, and you get them together. Now she got them together, Masuda got them together. They wanted to be together. They wanted to be in certain spaces too.
What if they say they don't want together?
Well then, good question. What if they don't want to be together? If you've got positive intentions, they will almost always want to understand and communicate. But if you don't, then you bring forward the part of you that knows how to mediate bring that facilitator mediator. Usually this will be a concept of